Hey everybody, this is Perch, and here's a viewer question that's like I feel there's a note of sadness behind this question, or maybe I'm misinterpreting it anyway. But question goes like this: Hey Perch, love your show. Thank you very much for everything you do. Always fun to keep me company while I'm on the road. I'm on the road too. I'm recording this video from the road, and you're listening on the road, so it's like we're on the road together. See, it's very chummy. Yeah, it's a hallmark moment. That's probably not the definition of a hallmark moment, but anyway, it's there. All right. My question is, what does it take to piss off comic professionals? It seems very easy to do, and to be clear, I'm not trying to piss off comic professionals, but is there some kind of list of rules, some kind of list or guidelines of things that you should avoid doing in order not to make the people that you love and respect in comics angry with you? I find that I get blocked very easily. I don't always understand why. It feels like there's a hair trigger, but the rules seem very strange as to what's going to get you isolated or not. So, can you help me? What are the things to avoid so I don't get blocked? All right. Um, so the answer to this is I'll give you the flippant answer, and then I'll try and give you a sort of some real answers. The flippant answer is there's nothing you can do unless you want to completely kind of become a sycophant of, a particular creator. But here's the rub. If you go all in on one creator that you really like, then other creators are going to block you from going all in on that one creator. And you may be thinking in your mind, oh, I follow John Malin, therefore Dan Slott will block me. But it's actually not that simple. For a while, if you followed Nick Spencer, people like Tess Fowler would block you. I mean, the crossovers were strange, and they're not always based on anything that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes it's like, what was the one I heard? That Marcos Martin. This can't be right. I think it was Marcos. Like if you followed him, then there was an artist who was angry because he felt like he was promised some work, and Marcos got. I'm almost positive. If it's not Marcos, then just use this as an example. But I'm almost positive it was him. And so he was blocking all the people that were following an artist, that he felt took work from him. And so there's nothing you can do about it. The point is, these things change on a whim. There were plenty of people who were, following Cameron Stewart, and why not? He was totally fine to follow. I mean, he was a darling. And then suddenly, it's you wake up one morning and it's you're getting blocked for it. Same thing with Warren Ellis. There's no way. The flippant answer is there's nothing you can do. You're going to get blocked by a group of people, and if you really let's say you're all in on Gail Simone. No jokes, please. Let's say you're all in. You want to just be deep into Gail Simone. No jokes, please. Let's say that the Gail Simone is who you're after. Sorry, children. Then the only thing you can do, I think, is to look for somebody who is, look at one of Gail's followers that Gail is often retweeting and just mimic that person and live that other person's life. That's really the only thing you can do, because otherwise it's too random. There's no good order to it. That's the flippant answer. Now, to try and give you some better information, because you asked, I think, an on-the-level question. Let me try and give you an on-the-level answer. There's certainly some things you can do that will accelerate. And I'm going to leave out for the moment the obvious following the wrong people. There are block bots being run. And in many cases, a lot of the blockchain, not blockchain like the technology, blockchain like the douchey thing that people do. There's a lot of bots that get run, and the bots are not created in many cases by the actual creator. It's created by some well-meaning fan who then shares the list with the creator, and the creator runs it. But the well-meaning fan is not well-meaning at all, and often will put people on that list that they just don't like, including people they feel are competition to them. There's a friend of, well, not a friend. There's somebody I know who I communicate with on Facebook from time to time, and she was, did nothing wrong, but another fan got jealous of her and the attention she was getting from creators, and so added her to a block list that she just happened to be running, and suddenly she's blocked by a bunch of people because a creator runs the list. They're not paying attention to the thousands of names on that list, and then poof, gone. And I guess that's my point here of just like it's a joke to even try and control any of this. It's petty and it's nonsensical. However, ways that you can get blocked. Certainly if you call, the obvious. If you say you wish somebody was dead, I mean, this goes without speak. You should just everybody knows this, right? This is one of those common sense things that I think a bunch of people pretend they don't understand, but they do. If you go to let's see, who's a name I haven't picked on in a while. Let's Scott Snyder. If you go to Scott Snyder and you tweet, uh, man, I hate Noctera. Um, Scott Snyder should be drug into the street and killed. And you at Scott Snyder. You want him to see this. He's probably going to block you. I mean, I don't know if he will or not, but I mean, there's a good chance. And does anybody really think that's wrong? I don't know. I mean, I think that seems like a pretty reasonable thing. Um, then all the gradations of that. If I don't understand why. I granted, I've said before, I think creators are often way too sensitive. If you write something like, "I didn't enjoy this book. I thought it was pretty dull," at Tom King, you're going to get blocked by Tom King. Same thing. If you write like, Mitch Gerards is really off on this book, and the stuff looked really weird. I just couldn't get into it. Expressions look very wooden. He's going to block you. Now, you could argue, and I go back and forth on this. A lot of creators will say, if you're going to say something negative, don't tag us in. Don't tag in Tom King and say, this book sucked. Damn you, Tom King. You're kind of, the argument is you're asking for it, because if it was real life and you saw this guy in the street, it'd be the equivalent of like walking across the street to go shout at Tom King in his face and say, you suck, which I know to some would be quite, refreshing. But to Tom King, probably not. So I think in general, if you're going to lay insults at somebody's feet, if you're tagging them in, you are, I'm not say asking to be blocked, but you're certainly opening the door to be blocked. You shouldn't be surprised if you insult someone to their face and they block you. So I wouldn't do it. The other one is if you tag in, let's say you say, I think John Romita's art is the shittiest in the world. Unlike, J. Scott Campbell's art, and you tag in Campbell. There's a chance Campbell will block you because Campbell is thinking, I don't want to get pulled into a drama of, somebody insulting one of my peers and then tagging me into it. And that's reasonable, right? Because what can happen is some jackass from Bleeding Cool can come in there and go, fan insults Romita to his face and J. Scott Campbell does nothing about it. I mean, imagine because I had the policy on Twitter for a while where if I read it, I would like it. If I read it, I would like. And it was my way of basically kind of checking the box. Yep, I've read this. But what happened is people are like, hey, I see Perch liking this thing about Dan Slott. That must mean he loves Dan Slott. It's like, no, it's the classic likes don't equal endorsement, but it becomes a funny little thing. So that's those are good ways. If another good way to get blocked is if you frequently will post, suggestions on plots or stories, and you start to freak out the writers that you're giving them ideas, and if they do something similar, you're going to come back at them and threaten that they stole your idea and they should get you're suing them. That's another good way. That happens from time to time. But in general, I mean, look, if you don't act like an asshole, if you do your best to just you wake up in the morning, you go online, you try and basically treat people online the same way you treat them in person. I always cracks me up when people say, I treat people the same way online that I do in person, and then they act like raving lunatics online. It's like, no, you're clearly not doing that. You get punched so many times if you're acting like this in real life. You do not act like this in real life. That, sir, is D for doubt. By the way, there's some advertising campaign I've seen lately where the slogan is "Give them the D," and they go into it like D is for delight, D is for delivery. At our company, we give them the D, and Okay, so I've got to ask all of you now. Where I come from, give them the D is not delight. Well, I mean, I guess it could be delight, but that's not the first thing that comes to my mind. And give them the D means something completely different. Similarly, where was I? I don't know if this is a Texas thing, but I go places and they're like, "Come to the swap party." It's like the swap party. Like, come to the swap party, and we'll have ourselves a really good swap party this Monday. I'm like, okay, what are we doing at this party? Because that I are you exchanging? Are you putting all the keys in the bowl in this swap party? Is that what's going on? I don't know what's going on at this swap party. Sorry, I got off track. Give him the D, right? That should be the new Perch. If you listen to the Perch show, he's going to give you the D. That's all right. I should wrap this one up. Anyway, those are kind of the things you can do. I just try and be as nice as you can, and you won't get blocked. But you will. You won't get blocked much, but you're going to get blocked eventually. There's no doubt about it. I mean, unfortunately, to try and avoid that is just madness, and it's not worth your time. And I mean, you should try not to be a dick. At the same time, you should try not to be like, you ever see those people online that are just like constant kiss asses? God, those people are gross. I don't be that person either. I've had a lot of people that like really it gets them really bothered. It gets them really kind of emotionally invested when they get blocked or when when some of this stuff happens. And I just feel, just try not to let your happiness get hinged on what could be very random events. And that's why I went through this stuff at the beginning. I mean, you may be blocked for completely things that have zero to do with you. And that sucks. It absolutely sucks. But the only, you can be angry about it, but that's just investing more energy into the process. The best thing you could do is just move on. And as I've said before, if being blocked by somebody really makes you angry inside, and then you start to feel angry about the money you're spending, yeah, don't buy their books. And by the way, me saying that is a reason why some creators have blocked me. But I mean, it's your money. At the end of the day, you have to feel good about the money you spend. If you don't feel good about it, you're just gonna. It's none of that's gonna lead to a good place. You're gonna be angry about what you're doing, and you're gonna be frustrated by how you're being treated, and like all this is just bad. So when you spend your money, be good, be glad, be confident about how you're spending it. And if you ever feel like you're spending your money in protest, you just don't feel good about it, don't. And that's that. If you do that and you do it regularly, you will start to feel better. And you'll notice that you don't care as much about being blocked or not blocked because you've basically removed yourself from the situation. You're not tied up in that drama anymore. You're just you're doing what makes you happy. You're focusing on what should be focused on, which is your entertainment for your dollar. That's all that matters. Anyway, give them the D. Thanks for listening.